Hello and welcome to the Hedonistic Way at Midday Show. I am Renee Main and I really felt called to pop in here and share with you today on the show about the crossroads of our life and that intersection where we get to choose and I want to introduce you to an archetype that that isn't really well known and isn't spoken about a lot. And we hear a lot about these archetypes, these big, bold archetypes, such as the alchemist or the warrior or the king or the queen or the magician. And this archetype often goes under the radar. However, she is very much alive within me right now. And I feel within the collective. So I really wanted to share with you this amazing archetype with you and speak more about her, because she does represent that crossroad that I'm speaking to, and that intersection that I really want to speak to you about, because I feel like right now we're at a time where, we have enough life experience. We've known, we've lived enough to know what we don't want. We know we may have an idea about what we want. We may really know, we may have no idea. Wherever you are in that basket, I think today's show you will absolutely love and enjoy, because that is exactly what we're speaking to. Because so many people really crave this life change, really crave to go in this particular direction, however, are really afraid of taking that plunge, because it really does require a leap of faith. And that is something that this archetype really represents. It's something that I have journeyed many, many times in my life. And so I feel like, I'm probably a bit of a humble pro when it comes to these crossroads and these intersections, because often we feel like we're at an intersection and we have a choice to make. However, I'm really reminded, I want to say it like last night and today, I'm really reminded that there is only one path for us. And in this path, it is a pathless path. And so as we navigate through this world, like, we cannot get it wrong. We cannot make a mistake, because everything is happening for our evolution. And so we cannot get it wrong. We cannot get it wrong. And so I really feel called to remind us, remind myself, remind you of that right now, is because there is no wrong choice. And our path, no matter what it is all laid out, for us. And coming back to that, to giving ourselves full permission and full trust in knowing that everything that is happening for us. And right now, I really love this intersection that we feel like we're at, and this crossroad that we feel like we're at, because we are at a crossroad. And something that I've been feeling a lot this week is, is this archetype that is the Maga, she's bubbling underneath, she's bubbling under the surface, she's alluring us into the underworld of decadence, right? We ignore her, but she does not go away. She waits and she purrs under our skin. She's the one that, we clench our butt cheeks. She's someone who I avoided for a really long time. And she's the piece of me that I would find in these small moments. And often when I was under the influence, the hunger to be uninhibited, I felt so free there. And I didn't care what people thought. I was just me. And in a life where, I let the need for people, what do I want to say? Where I let the need for people to like me consume me, right? Swayed by what people thought, and what I was meant to do with my life, what they thought I was meant to do with my life. And I hopped from thing to thing, trying to find the thing. And I chopped and I changed and I moved from place to place. And I was in this constant pursuit of, feeling content. And that consumed me, every thought, every action, to the point where I was never really able to enjoy life, because I was hightailing it to this life that I could never quite catch. People think that hedonism is this frivolous, self-indulgent luxury where we're in the chase of this pleasure and we walk a fine line of addiction. But hedonism saved me, right? It ended the pursuit. It made me melt into the moment, and it made me melt into the moment. And when we melt into life with hedonism, it's an important ingredient that we have in our life and to our mental well-being. And a lot of scientific research actually backs this up. So, I no longer hunger to feel free. I no longer, hunger to feel uninhibited, because I just am. And I become a submissive to God and a dominatrix in my life, and it never felt so good. So for me, hedonism and pleasure is actually the most important ingredient that we could really find, because the Maga right now, she is that person who is bubbling under the surface. She is so alive within us, and she's that person where you get to that crossroad in your life where you go, you know what, like, I'm at this crossroad. I don't want to do what I've done anymore. I want to create a new reality. I want to do new things. I just want to ditch. You feel the need to shatter everything. Like it's just, like the clothes no longer feel good in your skin, or, it's, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, I just want to change. Like, you want to change it up. You want to change your job. You want to take a new direction in your business. You have the hunger to spice up this creation. And the Maga speaks to that. Is that, often you might look at, say, for example, like if someone is in their, let's say, what we call a midlife crisis, right? And so for a long time, this was shamed for a very long time. But when you get to that point in your life where you go, you know what, this is not working, because so often we go through life and we don't even realize just how unhappy we are, or maybe we're not unhappy, but we're definitely not happy. And so resting into this place is to go, okay, is to finding your Maga, finding who is underneath the surface, what wants to come through, because she is very much alive right now. And I feel really called to, I got out the Maga card from the Spiritually Fierce, not Spiritually Fierce, the Sacred 13, the Sacred 13 pack by Christy Jameson does the design, and Rick Jane Adams does the words. And I'm going to read it to you, read the Maga to you now. And that is the Maga: without fear, I command the universe into action. I have occupied the sidelines long enough. I've been forgotten, set aside, abandoned, overlooked. And finally, I hold up a mirror to my own glory and witness the creator that I am without hesitation. For all I thought I wanted has been ripped apart, and still I rise. I'm the most dangerous force on the planet, for I do not need your approval, and yet still I have desire. And with that desire, I rip away the veil of illusion to reveal life. I am unstoppable in my power. And so what that really does is, the Maga speaks to me so beautifully, is because we're in such a change, such a time of evolution right now. And for so many times, and we have been on the sidelines, right? We have been watching life go by. And, I ask you, at what point do we actually feel like, you go, you know what, it doesn't matter if we wait for this point where we feel worthy or we feel qualified enough, then we're never actually going to do the thing, right? So it's really important that you go, that we recognize that, am I actually on the sidelines of my own life? What am I doing here? right? What do I want to do? And going into the underbelly of your desires to go, okay, what is it that I want? What do I want? What am I craving? What am I here to do? Speak to me. So we get to move into this beautiful dance with ourselves where we get to listen to like our heart's wisdom, our womb's wisdom, because we know that this current reality is not working. This current reality is not working. And yes, we know exactly what we don't want because we have lived enough of life to go, okay, you know what? Like, I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of the people pleasing. I'm tired of being worried about what people are going to think. I'm tired about people of what are people going to say? What are they going to judge me for? If I say this, what will they think? I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to harm anyone. And we are so friggin' apologetic, right? Because we have this innate desire to be validated. And then we get to the point where we go, you know what, like, who cares? Who cares? Because the people who judge us, the people who will say whatever they're going to say, they're going to say it anyway, right? And are they the people who we really want in our reality and in our lives if they don't fully support us in everything that we do? Yes, we're going to make mistakes. Yes, we're going to fuck up sometimes. Yes, we are absolutely going to get it wrong. And you know what? In all of that, we've still got each other. And I will still hold you because we are in this together, because the world doesn't need a place where we put on another mask and we put on another mask and we put on another mask and pretend to be someone that we're not. We do not need any more of these people. So this new evolution, this new human that is coming forward, it's taking what you know and combining it with what you learn, and you're making something great. And that gives us unstoppable power. And when we rise in this, when we have the courage to go, you know what, like, life is slipping me by before I know. And so I need to take the plunge. I need to take the plunge and I need to do this thing because I'm not happy. I don't feel alive in my skin. I've lived my life for everybody else and it's got me nowhere. And it doesn't mean that we've made a wrong decision. It just means that we're in the time in our path where it's opening up. It's opening us up for more, right? We're craving more. So what was enough is no longer enough, right? And so that is nothing to have shame about. Being in content in your life, admitting that you're unfulfilled and not really happy. That's okay, because we get to ask big, beautiful questions, right? For those of you who have heard me before, I speak about voyeurism, and voyeurism is very much alive in all of us. We get off on watching other people. We get off on watching other people succeed. We get off on watching other people fail. We get off on watching other people in their pleasure, right? And with this, it is absolutely beautiful because yes, you want to be able to share everybody's joy, share everybody's success, share everybody's pleasure, because this is available to all of us and it is such a vital ingredient. But it also creates the space where we can potentially become a bystander in our own lives, right? We've created this movie, this role in this play, and we haven't given ourselves the lead role, right? Sometimes we might be the understudy waiting in the wings. Sometimes we're not even on the stage. We're in the audience. And that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference to how we feel and how we show up. So it's not that you've done anything wrong, it's that you don't feel alive in your life because what you're doing is not turning you on. And when you're not feeling turned on in your life, then guess what? Everything is very lackluster, right? We got to a time where our success was determined by how busy we were, and we said, oh, how are you? Yeah, good. Busy, like being busy become this measure of success, this badge of honor. Life can be full, but it doesn't need to be chaotic. Yes, take action. Yes, reach for your goals, but the chaotic life, being busy, doesn't equal success. So what does success mean to you? What does happiness mean to you? Because it looks differently to everybody. And if we're not feeling alive in our life, then I welcome you to slow down and open up your senses, right? Remembering that life is a sensory journey, it is an in-body experience where we get to decide. Where we get to decide, and we get to come back to self, and we get to come back to self in moments, in not any moment, but all moments, right? And then we step out of that moment, and then we remember and we step back in. So we get to show up and we get to be with ourselves and be compassionate with ourselves, knowing that we are absolutely imperfect, but not denying ourselves or robbing ourselves or raping ourselves of this idea that we should feel happy for a life that doesn't feel good for us, right? Where we get to take a risk, take a plunge. When we're listening to that deep desire of our soul, then it's never going to lead us astray, right? We're never going to know the answers. So this idea of control is an illusion, right? We do not know what's going to happen. We have to get agile in the mystery, right? Be comfortable with the mystery, because we do not know, right? We cannot change what happened yesterday. All we can change is who we are in this moment. And presence, that's very, very easy to say, but it needs to be a felt experience. It needs to be a constant remembrance, right? Where we get to draw out time. How does it feel when we draw out time, right? How does it feel when we open up the gaze in which we look through life, when we know that there is no wrong path? And how does that feel? How does that feel in the body when we actually get really honest with ourselves, right? To go, the Maga is really about going, you know what, like it's, okay, so I'm going to put my mum hat on, and then I'm going to put my partner hat on, and then I'm going to put my business hat on, and then I'm going to put my health hat on, and we become separate. We feel like we're separate, finite people, but we are infinite people. We are one person. And so this idea that we have to be different people is really bleeding us dry. It's leaving us feeling really empty. And with that is we go, okay, I can't show up like this, and I can't show up like this. So it's these perceptions of who we can be in moments. And you can see how exhausting this is, how depleting this is robbing our soul of this existence. And so just being open with, this is who I am, allowing ourselves to be all of it, right? Knowing that will allow us to feel worthy. That is when we get to be an embodiment of our worth, right? Knowing that we are not defined by our faults, by our flaws, by our mistakes, by our choices. We cannot get this wrong. We cannot get this wrong. And so if you have something where you're questioning, and where you're going, should I do this or should I do that? Or you have that desire, go in, go in, go in, go down, go deeper. And you will find your truth. You will find your voice. You will find your Maga, because she is bubbling underneath the surface at all times. She is very much alive in us, because underneath all of it, we all crave to live this uninhibited existence, right? And often we want to go into altered states of consciousness to feel this, to feel uninhibited, but we don't need substances. We don't need things. We don't need objects. We don't need people. We don't need anything that is outside of us to feel this way. Because being uninhibited, we feel free. And right now the world is craving to feel free. And that is the disconnect. The disconnect is not afraid of what is going to happen tomorrow. It's the freedom. The feeling of freedom that's being taken away, that's being jeopardized, that's being questioned. But when we're actually craving is to be all of who we are, to welcome in that. So right now we get to do the work on ourselves, right? We get to do the work on ourselves, and we get to be this constant exploration of this soul expansion, and let ourselves be all of who we are. And we get to melt into the moment and find pleasure in the moments, and not like be a mom over here and be a businesswoman over here and be a seductress over here. We get to have this interconnected life where we just show up, right? Who we are in all moments, being completely unapologetic in that. And if there are people around us who are saying you shouldn't show up like that, and what are you doing, and you need to be quiet, and you need to be still, and you can't speak like that, and they're judging and criticizing every move you'll make, guess what? It's a reflection of how they feel within them. And it says more about them than what it says about you. So do not let them people deplete you. You cannot get sucked into their vortex of misery and self-doubt. So what we do is we rise above, right? We rise above and we go back to ourselves like full friggin' permission, full permission to be all of who we are, because those who love you will support you no matter what. And if they don't, that's on them, and that's their problem, and that's their path. And it's not up to us to control that or navigate that. But all we have to do is sit in our magic and allow ourselves to just unfurl and melt into all moments. And I don't know about you, but that feels pretty good, right? Like, who is that person? What would you be doing? What would you be saying, right? If you're no longer overlooked or feeling abandoned, feeling unworthy, feeling doubt, like I can't do that, I can't do this. What if you just acknowledge that you are creator? You are a creator of all of who you are, yeah? And that you get to rise, and you will change the world if you choose to. And it doesn't need to be anything grand or significant. When we change ourselves, we automatically change the world. As within, so without. It's just the way it rolls. So what do you need to do? What do you need to say? What honest conversation do you need to have with yourself? What is the deepest craving of your soul? Where can you open up and be yourself and crack yourself wide open, and knowing that all of you is acceptable, and that you just need to take a step and take another one and take another one, and get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with sharing and fully be seen in it. So often we want to be seen. We spend so much time wanting to be validated, and we want confirmation and affirmation about who we are and what we're doing. And often we crave to be seen, and then when we are seen, we want to shrink and we want to hide, and we don't know what to do with that. We get overwhelmed with being seen, and then in that we shrink. But what happens if we just stand on the stage and allow ourselves to be seen, without putting on a show, without putting on a thing, and just go, this is who I am, this is who I am. Right here in this moment, this is who I am, and I'm happy to be seen. I'm happy to receive in this way. Instead of shrinking or hiding or doubting or feeling unworthy or feeling guilty or feeling like you're taking up space. Who are you when you take up space? Go take up space. You should go take up space. I'm just going to have a little feel into what wants to come through, what wants to be heard, what wants to be seen, you know, is remember that you're not doing this alone, that you are in communion. You are held at all times. You are in constant communion with the divine, right? With source. And it's the true embodiment of partnership in this way when we become a submissive to the universe and a dominatrix in our life, where we're unafraid of our evolution, right? And we get to rise into the world that awaits within, right? The world that awaits within. That is all we're doing, okay? Alrighty, so that is me, over and out, and I hope you enjoyed today's show, today's episode, and let's full permission to become a seer of all things, both sides, all sides, knowing that this ecstatic union is absolutely glorious and one that awaits you because there is no wrong path. So go forth, make your magic, and I'll see you next time on the Hedonistic Way Show. Bye, everybody.